you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast, the hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hey folks, it's Voss here from the Chris Voss Show. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Iron Things that makes official. Welcome to the big show. As always, the Chris Voss Show is a family that loves you but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as the rest of the world, because we believe in you. We're behind you. We love you because you guys are such great listeners. You listen to the wonderful people who come on the show and make such amazing content for us and share their journeys of life. As always, for 16 years, 2,800 episodes, nearly 3,000, we bring in the Chris Voss Show. Be sure to refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTok, and all those crazy places on the internet. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. We're going to be talking to an amazing young man on the show today. He is Jim Simon, the founder and CEO of Jimmy Bar, a Chicago-based family-founded functional nutrition company. He's a serial entrepreneur with a background in tech startups. He launched Jimmy Bar with his sister Annette in 2013 to disrupt the boring snack industry with bars with benefits. Under his leadership, the brand has scaled from a local startup to an international powerhouse with products now stocking the shelves in over 20,000 locations across 7 countries, including a major national presence in Costco, Walmart, and Target. I've heard of those guys. Most recently, Jim led the brand's expansion to performance athletics with the launch of the first to ever Creatine protein bar. He is also a frequent commenter on CPG, consumer packaged goods, trends, retail distribution strategies, and the evolution of functional nutrition. Welcome to the show, Jim. How are you?
Damn, I gotta meet that guy that you just were talking about.
He sounds really cool. He's got some stuff there, eh?
Yeah, really. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. So give us .coms, websites, where we're on the interwebs you want people to find out more about you.
JimmyBars.com. JimmyBars.com, Amazon, TikTok. We do a ton on TikTok right now.
Oh, wow. TikTok. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there. Give us a 30,000 overview of what Jimmy Bars is.
Family company, started 12 years ago. Quite frankly, didn't know anything about CPG. Came from a technology background. This is the 6th company I've run, but nothing in CPG. And started with my sister, who's a chef. I'm more of the sales guy. And we wanted to do a family business because I've got 3 older sisters and everyone's an entrepreneur, but we've never done anything together. And so we decided on bars, as a lark. My sister's a restaurateur and chef. Her husband's a restaurateur and chef. And we started making bars in the basement kitchen of her restaurant in Chicago, just for fun. We didn't know what the hell we're doing. And then literally one hungover Sunday, we're making our first order, which is like 14 bars or something. And I'm like, forget this. Let's go to a co-packer and have it do it right. We went through 4 co-packers in 5 years. Wow. Each ended up in a bad divorce. And so my sister said, let's just make it ourselves. We got to control, in CPG and consumer packaged goods, everyone has you kind of by the neck, the retailers, the brokers, the distributors. The one thing you can control is manufacturing and supply chain. So we are one of the few guys who actually self-manufacture.
Really?
We started out in a small space. We ended up buying the building in Elk Grove Village, Illinois. Now we've got about 75,000 square feet under our control, and we ship to 7 countries around the world.
Oh, wow. That is wild, man. And you're right. There's a lot of control over, what is it that they do in the retail business? A lot of control over shelving, right? I guess.
Shelving costs, chargebacks. Yeah. It's not this is the 4th industry I've been in since post-college, which was 40 years ago. It's not the cleanest business. It is kind of fun. You're growing a brand, right? Just like you're growing your brand, your show. It's fun. But in our business, you go directly to your viewers, right? And they love you. In our business, you got to go through brokers and you go through retailers, and there's a lot of people you go through to get your message out. which is not as fun. And it's also very transactional. Whereas in technology, you're going out for beers and dinner and you're with your enemies. If you're at Google, you're going out with the guys at Yahoo because everyone changes jobs every 2 years. That's not CPG. So I'm not allowed to have a drink with my buyer at, whatever, Walmart, which is a bummer because they're a lot of cool people.
Yeah, lots of cool people. So this is wild. Now you're kind of, let's delve into your past a little bit. You've done some different tech startups, I believe.
Tech startups. I started when I was 25. I started a paper company. Talk about a fun, exciting industry.
Yeah,
being facetious. I was printing paper. It was pretty boring stuff, but I ended up building it, got acquired, and then went into technology and ran a couple of companies and had a couple wins, a couple losses. But I wanted to get back into a tangible product, something you can touch, right? And we wanted to do something in food, and so we just came upon this. It's been a perfect marriage between sales and marketing, which is me, and then manufacturing, which is my sister, my nephew, my other nephew, and my brother-in-law. They manage everything when it comes to manufacturing. I would be terrible at it. We've got 100 people walking through the floor every day. I'm not a great manager. What I really love doing is doing deals and selling.
Sales is a CEO's job. Now you're a founder too of the company. What is it like now? The product that you have there up on deck is this creatine product with protein bars mixed into it. I've kind of been seeing, is this a new trend to put the creatine and stuff? It seems like I've been seeing stuff like this on the market coming out.
So creatine is something that's been around. You and I are probably about the same age. It's been around forever, right? And when you're in sports, back in the 80s, everyone was taking creatine. It gives you muscle. And then it sort of went away for a while. It's easy to forget. It's chalky. You put it in your water, you shake it up, or you put it in your smoothie. And it doesn't taste good. It's not portable. My wife always jokes because I've been taking creatine for the past 3 years. And when we're traveling all over the world or wherever we're going, I bring a baggie of the powder, which, looks like drugs. And she's, you're going to get flagged by, when we go through TS, because it looks like drugs. I'm like, yeah, but it's not. It's creatine. So I think we're okay on that one. But it's just not portable. And it doesn't taste good. And so what we did was we took the creatine and we put it in the protein bar. The reason why no one's done it before is because you've got 3 big problems you have to solve: acidity, moisture, and heat. Creatine doesn't jive with any of those, but we created a patent technology within our manufacturing plant of how we process it, how we manufacture it, and we got it third-party approved, so the creatine lasts up to 15 months. It's really been kind of a big deal, and it was hard. It was definitely hard, but we got rewarded big time. We went national with Costco. We're in every Costco in America right now, every GNC in America. We're about to go into Sam's. We're in every Chevron Extra Mile, which is a huge chain of C-stores, e.g. Cumberland Farms, and then we're about to go into Meijer and a bunch of other chains.
Well, Costco and Walmart and all those places, those are really huge places to be successful. Now, you mentioned, I can't remember if we did this before the show in the green room or during, but I think you mentioned that you guys are making good sales on TikTok, I think. Is that correct?
TikTok's been amazing. I'm 58, so I thought it was really for just 13-year-olds who want to, or as Chris Rock said, it's all about showing your ass. Just
what's your ass look like there, Jim?
No, you don't want to see it.
We don't want to see it.
But I always thought it was, just pretty girls showing their asses and guys taking off their shirts and showing their abs But it's so much more than that. It's been our innovation engine. We've wanted to get younger too. Our bars always skewed older for some reason. I think because maybe I'm older and my sister's older, but we wanted to get younger. And so it's just been this incredible innovation engine where I do more on TikTok. TikTok Shop opened just 2 years ago. I do more on TikTok than I do on Amazon. We sell hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars every month on TikTok. And it's getting bigger and it's faster. So we're pretty stoked. It's been really great. And these are people from your and my age down to, like 13, 14. They're looking for cool stuff. They're also looking for, there's sort of an anti-corporate, almost like a 1960s, 1970s thing happening on TikTok. They want family brands. They want to know the founder. They want to know that someone actually gives a damn about the product and it's not just a bunch of old guys sitting in a boardroom.
Yeah. Old guys like us sitting in the boardroom. No, it's really amazing. There's another brand that I found, and I found a lot of cool brands on TikTok. Real Men Underwear. They launched, I believe, kind of during COVID or before. I can't remember, but they launched on TikTok, and they are just killing it over there. I mean, they've been like, this has been the difference between, a struggling startup and rock and roll.
Chris, it's there are brands doing $50 million a month. It's absolutely crazy. But here's the cool thing is that to get that big on Amazon is going to take you several years, a lot of middlemen. It's hard to figure out. I mean, TikTok's hard to figure out too. It's like learning Italian or learning Portuguese. It's a language, right? And that's why I've got my force of 20 somethings to figure it out because I can't figure it out. But you get fast quick because their model is all about influencers. And so you send out samples to, could be a guy who's got 2,000 influencers, but his followers really follow him because he's a workout guy, or a woman who's going through perimenopause and she loves collagen and she loves creatine and she loves yoga and she loves working out. And you've got her followers who really believe in her. And we send out free samples, and if they like it, they post. Then their followers buy, and she gets a commission. It's a very clean, very clever model, and we love it.
Yeah, the Mario Lopez looks like a bit of a spokesman. Maybe he's
a buddy, and he's an investor. He's actually an investor in Jimmy Bars. Great dude. I just don't like taking pictures with him because that guy's got great hair.
Dude, isn't he insane to be in person?
I know. We had dinner last week, and I'm like, you make us old guys look bad, man, because he's but we connected because he's a huge MMA fan, and you can see Fight Team here. We have a Jimmy Bar Fight Team. We're very big in MMA. We're very big in wrestling. I wrestled in high school, a little bit in college, and I did MMA, still do MMA, not at a high level, just at a guy sitting behind a desk rolling around level. But he's into that stuff too. So we connected through friends.
Nice.
And he's got a podcast called Three Knockdown Rule that we're on. But we're very big in combat sports. That has been our thing. Just like some brands gravitate toward marathoners, or some brands gravitate towards, I'm talking about nutrition brands, weightlifters. Ours have been combat sports, and he's huge on it. And we just connected, and now we're close friends, and he invested, and he's just a great dude.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I hung out him at least once in LA at a Grammy party with JBL. And, some people, I'm a photographer, and some people, the camera just loves them. And I've seen people that they look horrible in person, but if you take pictures of them, put some makeup on them and do their hair, they look amazing. And so when I was going to meet him, I was like, let's see if this guy is really as good looking as the pictures. And holy shit, man, that dude is, God bless him with some DNA or something.
Here's the funny thing. So last Saturday, he came and did a pop-up at Costco, because we're in every Costco in America. So it's Meet Mario Lopez 12-1. And I had no idea. I know he's a legend, especially in Southern California. There's freaking mobs, but it's all girls.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all women, ages, because people know from Saved by the Bell, but it's 20-year-olds who think he's cute. And he knows what's going on. I mean, he knows, he loves it. But it was like, probably 5-6 deep, where we have our booth. And they're just like 20, 30-year-old women giggling. And I'm guys, he's here to meet you. Come here. And buy a box of bars, by the way, and he'll autograph. Don't just giggle at the man and his dimples. Come and meet him. He's here to meet you. It was funny.
Yeah. I mean, you stand next to him and you're just like, you're dodging panties and bras being thrown at him all day long and stuff. That's my joke. But yeah, great guy. So tell us what makes these bars different than maybe some of the other competitors we might find on the market?
First and foremost, we're the first guys to ever put creatine in a bar. Like we talked about before, it's always been that powder. It's nasty. I still use the powder occasionally. It's just not a great experience. If you want protein, you can go to Chick-fil-A and get your protein. You can go to Burger King. You can go anywhere and get protein, but you can't get creatine. And creatine is the most studied performance supplement in the world. It works. It's kind of, I always compare it to Ozempic. When you walk into a GNC, you don't know what's going to work and what doesn't work, or, that hair stuff that everyone's taking out. You don't know if it works or it doesn't work. You have no idea. Ozempic changed everything. You take Ozempic, you will lose weight, period, end of conversation. Creatine, if you take it, you will get strong. You will have more energy. If you're a woman, you're going through perimenopause, like my wife is, you'll feel better.
Seriously?
Brain fog, it works. It's not bullshit.
Wow.
Like I had an injury in my right elbow from an old Brazilian jiu-jitsu injury that just always hurt, It's like sort of like tennis elbow, sort of what it feels like.
Yeah.
And it's cured it.
Wow. It basically, my understanding of what creatine is, and I'm sure there's like a whole deeper thing, folks. I'm not going to explain the whole thing to you, but part of what it does is it helps get fluid into the muscles, because your muscles are just basically water, really. My understanding. So correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's 100% correct. It brings fluid, and that's the muscle part, right? So it brings fluid to your muscles. As we get older, when you hit your mid 30s to early 40s, you're losing about 8% of your muscle mass a year, and that's why older folks, we see them walking, they're hunched over, right? Because their muscles not pulling them back. They don't walk completely straight up or erect anymore. They're a little bit hunched over. And why a lot of doctors, not real doctors, not just ones on TikTok, they're saying that as you get older, it's more important to weight than it is to do cardio. It's more important to weightlift than even walk. Around. You must weightlift if you want to feel good into your 70s and 80s.
Yeah. I for a long time, I did intermittent fasting, and I had the hardest time doing intermittent fasting while working out. And, I had a person who taught me, how to fast, but the problem was they were very anti-protein. They're like, protein's a scam, proteins and everything, but you don't need protein. And well, that's kind of true. There's an important factor of having skeletal muscle. And there was I think a doctor I tuned into, a real doctor who's on TikTok, and she was talking about, skeletal muscle, how less cancer rates, less injury rates, less you tend to live longer and survive better if you've got that skeletal muscle. And the more I listened to it, I was like, okay, I'm just going to try, let's do supplemental protein and try protein. And of course, one of the other factors was I got on testosterone replacement at my age of 58. I was 56 at the time. I was 55, 56. I was feeling I had some brain fog really bad, actually. I didn't know how bad it was. And so anyway, I got all of that. But the key was the protein. And I went on Ozempic and I gained 10 pounds. And I couldn't lose shit. It did fix me wanting to eat, but whatever. So I said, okay, I'm going to give up fasting, and I'm going to just do protein supplement, and I'm going to see what happens. And we're going to find out this, who's telling the truth here. I started the protein supplements where I'm a bigger guy, so I have to drink about 5-6 protein shakes a day, or at least make sure that I have the equivalent of that and maybe some food like eggs or chicken. And so I started that diet. And within, I didn't measure the time. It was like 6 months before I'd measure myself again. I lost 35 pounds.
Wow.
Just by doing that. And I was still going to the gym. I wasn't doing intermittent fasting anymore. I lost 30 to 35 pounds. And I was like, holy crap, there's something to this. And so, getting regular protein, I have a protein shake when I wake up. I have a protein shake before I go to bed. I drink protein shakes throughout the day. And that just made all the difference. I lost weight. I got off the Ozempic because it didn't do anything for me, and just went to this protein thing. So I can really vouch for it.
I think a lot of people call bullshit on protein. And especially protein bars. There's protein. I mean, there's protein energy drinks now. There's just protein pretzels, donuts, whatever. So I think no, literally. So
I've seen protein
Snickers,
pickles.
Yeah, that's what the world needs.
How the hell did you get protein in a pickle? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even want to know. There's a joke there somewhere. But
you and me are dodging that one.
Yeah, exactly. But there's just protein. There's go back to and so you give so many freaking experts on everything. The problem is most of them are trying to sell you something, right?
Yeah,
it happens all the time, and you don't know who to listen to. And then so one guy saying protein's bullshit. Just eat a whole foods diet, right? There's 5-6 billion people on earth. We're not all built the same. You might be a guy Ozempic doesn't work with, but protein worked great for you. Ozempic actually worked great for me. Protein also works good for me. But as we get older, you go from your 32 waist to your 34 to your 36. It's just natural. you got to fight it. You know what I mean? So you fight it by working out. You fight it by tweaking your diet, increasing your protein, adding some creatine, whatever you want. But there's stuff out there that actually works. But we're not all the same. And I never hear doctors saying that, we've 6-7 billion, how many people on planet Earth right now? We're not built the same. There's some people out there that are just naturally lean, have these beautiful bodies, and it's not fair at all. And then there's some people who work out and they just never get strong. It's a weird thing, but protein does work. But you have to get whole proteins. Soy protein's good. Our protein in our bars, it comes from peanuts, peanut butter, almonds, almond butter. We're the only protein bar on planet Earth that has creatine with the first ingredient, peanuts or almond butter. Most of the bars you see out there, and a lot of guys, frankly, bigger than us, are completely synthetic. Very high protein,
really?
Very low sugar, lower calorie than us, but we're the only guys who have real food. Mom didn't make, glycerin sandwiches and sugar alcohol sandwiches growing up. They made peanut butter sandwiches.
Did.
Yeah. No, so did my mom.
Well, it's just like that explains everything.
It was called fluffernutter. Remember that shit?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that.
I love that stuff too. But, you can eat, there are like little life hacks that you eat. What makes us different is the creatine. We added it to a protein bar, and it took 19 months to create. It took, I think, 340 iterations. It was a tremendous hassle, but the market has rewarded us getting into Costco nationally, getting into GNC nationally. The bars taste really good too. So you're getting your creatine, you're getting 20 grams protein. It's very low sugar. Our new bars, actually, and I'll send you a ton. Our new bars are almond butter based, and we added collagen. So you got collagen, you got creatine.
Oh, collagen too.
Yeah, collagen. Yeah,
it's
collagen
real
works. It is.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point. So that's technically lactose free on the ingredients you're putting in there, right?
Not really, because we use milk protein.
Oh, okay. I thought I got confused with all the nuts and all that sort of stuff.
We use milk protein. We also use soy protein, but I am off the charts lactose intolerant.
You and me.
Yeah, I still will eat a bowl of ice cream every night. I don't give a shit. And those lactate pills don't work, by the way.
They don't work for shit.
You're still in trouble after.
They used to work for me, but they don't work anymore.
But there are good I'll take that back. There are no great substitutes for ice cream. Frozen yogurt makes me nauseous. I don't know about you, but there are like lactose-free ice creams. I just haven't had any that taste good. And we're actually thinking about maybe Jimmy Bar coming out with something, a protein version of ice cream, throwing creatine if we make it work.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. I mean, I'm lactose intolerant, and I used to be able to get away with the pills, the Lactaid, but now they don't work anymore. It's just like candy. And I go Chernobyl nuclear. I will have a nuclear ignition response to milk.
I know it's a shame, because ice cream, if you were to say give up ice cream or give up, wine or beer, that would take a minute. I would have to really think about it, because ice cream is, one of God's greatest creations.
You sound like you might have an issue there, Jim.
My wife, this is a funny story. She knows I can't eat ice cream. So we came in one night after date night and probably had a little too much wine. I go straight for the fridge, get, a giant thing of ice cream. And she was chasing me around our island in the kitchen to try to get the ice cream. Unfortunately, she's faster than me. Oh. So she caught me and grabbed the ice cream from me. But there's a lot of stuff we can't eat. It's also knowing your body. It's sort of knowing what works for you. Again, Ozempic didn't work for you and protein did. And there's no quick fix for anything. But it is important. I can't emphasize it enough to get in the gym.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Now, can you eat the bars with your lactose intolerance?
Oh, yeah. The good thing about our milk protein is it's dried and it's processed. It's very clean, but it's processed. So, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. And if you had them, you would have absolutely no problem. If I drank a glass of milk, it would be, I'd be dead for a day. Yeah, but I eat two of my bars a day. It's fine.
Yeah, I can usually get away with eating stuff that it's kind of been maybe if there's heat involved or whatever in the making seems to minimize a lot of it. But yeah, if it's straight milk, man, I'm in some serious trouble, man. Probably the reason your wife was chasing around is because there's a lot of farting that goes on when the gastric crap that goes on once you ingest that.
Whey protein seems to bother people even more.
It does. Immensely,
whey protein's nasty. And we don't use whey protein in our bars. We only use milk protein. But a lot of the protein's coming from peanuts and soy. But in this iteration of our bars, we got 4 bars right now with creatine. It's doubled our company size. I mean, it's been for a family company. I mean, the other kind of unique thing is when you start a CPG business, so many people right now they're raising 50, 60 million bucks pre-revenue. They're going out to the VCs and they're raising money right away. We didn't do that. We bootstrapped this thing from day one. So I used my own money until I ran out. Then I hit up my friends and family. Then I hit up more friends and family. Then I ran out of friends. And so I hit up their friends. And so we've only raised 6.8 million bucks for a company that at the end of this year has sold in our 12 years, maybe 160 million.
Wow.
It's unheard of.
That's a great turnaround, man. That's a great ROI. And raising your own money too. I mean, it makes it so you have more autonomy. Now, how do you handle this family business stuff? Because sometimes family and friends don't always work out.
The friends part, easy peasy. People are just betting on me. And they, my friends I've been hanging out with forever, they give me $100,000 or $200,000 or $50,000. And I tell them up front, you could lose it. And
I need better friends, evidently.
No, you need richer friends.
Yeah.
Note to
self.
Some of my wealthiest friends did not invest, but people believe in you, and so they bet on you, right? And it's very flattering, and that's what gets your ass up in the morning when you don't feel like banging out calls. It's like, these guys depend on me. The other side of the family stuff's tricky. However, and I'm not saying we haven't bumped heads, me and my sister and my brother. However, they're good, honest people. They work their asses off and they want to win. And so I come from an unusually competitive family, and my dad was very competitive in that we want to win. And if you want to win, you got to fucking work. And so we have no lazy asses in our family. And also we separated the company very early on. Manufacturing was actually its own company at one time. And then the brand was its own company. We combined it during COVID. But my sister, my brother-in-law, my nephew, they managed the factory, which has anywhere from 80 to 100 people walking around at one point in time. I have nothing to do with it. And although I have suggestions, they don't like to hear about my suggestions. On sales and marketing, that's my team. We're about 10. They make suggestions and I tell them to stay in your lane. So we get along really well because I don't want her job. I don't want to, and she doesn't want my job. And it's funny, she's a brilliant chef. I mean, she's a classically trained chef and restaurateur, and so is he. So is Filippo, my brother-in-law. They just make stuff taste good. I can't do that. And they're running the machines. I can't do that. So it's like, it kind of worked out perfectly where you don't have this succession. You don't have two older, the older brothers battling over. We don't have that. Yeah, we just want to win, and we'll build the company when it's time to sell. We'll sell, and we'll move on to the next thing.
That's awesome. It's hard to sometimes control these things, but it sounds like maybe the other people in your family have some business acumen too. And I think that probably really helps, right?
I think two things help: business acumen and also our age. And that is, if we would have started this at 25, we would have been bankrupt because I was so much more aggressive at 24. I would have done everything wrong. Every time, you're real familiar with CPG, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you see, I know this is probably not the nicest thing to say, but when I see something like Joe Smith, Forbes, top 30 entrepreneurs out of 30, 30 of 30 or 40 of 40 or whatever for CPG, I'm like, that guy's screwed. Because that means he's growing too fast. He's in every Whole Foods. He's in every Sprouts. He went in every grocery chain. He's getting charged a lot of slotting. He's going through all the distributors that are going to gouge him and cheat him. He's going to be done. We didn't do that. So I started the company when I was 46, 45. And again, having some wins and some losses, right? Yeah. Almost like a boxer. You get smarter. And my sister, same thing. She's had some wins and losses in her entrepreneurial career. Day one, I went into Jewel, which is the Chicago local grocery chain. And they said, great, bars are good. You can come in. $30,000 slotting fee per SKU, and you're going to go through KeHE. And I go, what's a SKU? What's a slotting fee? Who's KeHE? Yeah, I didn't know anything. And then he explains, 30, you know how many bars I have to sell to make up the $30,000 for the 4 SKUs got in, $120,000 bucks. I'm just, on my envelope, I'm like, I called up my sister and I said, this business is a dog. I'm going back to technology. She goes, chill out. The whole reason we started this is you told me, like when I was in technology, you walk into Google and Facebook and Uber and Oracle and all these tech places in Silicon Valley. And they've got these things called micro kitchens. And it's basically a glorified cafeteria, but they're beautiful. They're beautiful. And they give away free food because they want your asses and their seats. They want you to stay and work. And they're not giving you Cheetos and Fritos and Doritos and Coke. They're giving you cool brands that healthier stuff that make you feel better. They want their employees to feel good, so they work longer hours and they're smarter, right? And probably the 3 most successful brands to come out of micro kitchens are Jimmy Bars, a company called Rip Van Waffle, and Hint Water that you probably heard of. We started from day 2 in micro kitchens. We did not go into grocery. We're still not in grocery. We're in Aldi, we're in Ingles, Meijer, a few select groceries that play fair, but we don't go into grocery that charges slotting. We won't do it. Yeah. And I always tell entrepreneurs when they're starting out, resist the temptation of going into the glamorous chains. You're going to lose money.
Yeah. Yeah, people don't realize all the work that goes into that and stuff. You mentioned Hint Water. My friend who was the founder and was the CEO of Hint Water, Kara Golden, she's been on the show at least once, maybe twice. And, we talked about that, the slotting, the shelving, the competition for eyeballs and getting that prime, the end case or whatever it's called, the end piece sometimes, to get those promotions cap to get the promotions. And I mean, it's a hell of a game. And there's a lot of payola, it seems, from one end to the other. People,
she was really smart. She was really smart because she started out in food service just like us. So we did all the micro kitchens, and then we went into colleges, and then we went into convenience stores. Convenience stores, I love. It's not the most glamorous place. But and there's also not a Costco of convenience, so it's not one place you can go into and you're gonna get $1 million purchase order. It's a hunter's game, and I'm definitely a hunter. So I like being on the road. I like selling, and I like pitching. It's what I feel most comfortable at, just like you feel you're most comfortable right now, right? So it catered to sort of my skill set. It also catered to my sister's skill set because they were looking for new stuff. So I would love to be in Whole Foods. I would love to be in Sprouts if I can make money. I can't make money there. Wow. So I just choose not to be there. Great stores, they run extremely well, but I can't make money because of the fees. So we just choose not to be there. We're big in hospitals. We're big in, just some funky channels out there that no one looks for, like college. I love college. You got to call, I'm ASU's in my backyard. I'm talking to those guys right now. You got to work with, their distributors. It's not an easy sale, but once you get in there and the kids get addicted to your brand, they're the most loyal people in the world. And then they're going to buy it on TikTok, and then they're going to buy it on Amazon. They're going to buy it on Uber Eats or whatever. So we've taken a very different approach to distribution. Money, definitely. For raising only 6.8 million and we'll sell 160 million or whatever, that's unheard of. Now, if I would have done it differently, if I would have said, screw it, I'm going to go raise 30 million bucks, we would be doing 200 million a year in sales, which is much more than we do now. But I'd only own a sliver. And I also didn't want, being a 45-year-old guy or whatever, and my sister's, in their 50s when we started, I don't want a 23-year-old out of business school telling me to run my business. I've done that shit before in technology. It didn't end well. So it's like, what? I just don't want to do that.
23-year-olds know so much.
They do, don't they? Well, I love 23-year-olds because they eat my bars, but I just don't want to work for one who's going to be yelling at me.
Yeah, and make right decisions. It's amazing how many people I've seen get money from Silicon Valley, and I'm just like, that guy's 20, and he has no idea what he's doing. I'm not saying all 20 years don't know what they're doing. I started my companies at 18 and 22. Yeah. But now, you guys have really blown through, this shelving and these payola sort of retail things. You guys got 99,000 followers. Did I say that right? 99,000 followers on Instagram. And then on TikTok, you've got 42,000. And so you guys are really able to just go direct to market with these platforms. And, TikTok has been really friendly to selling stuff and things. It's just wonderful. There's a great democratization where you can just go directly to consumers.
You're going to see, CPG still a little bit in the dark ages because you still have so many middlemen. And there are some terrific brokers. I don't use a lot of brokers. There's some good ones, and then there are ones who don't do anything. You got some good distributors, and you guys got to have ones, and the ones I'm talking about that just cheat and lie and steal from you. And if you look at the most innovative retailers in America, they don't use distributors. They don't use middlemen. They go directly to the brand because they want the best price. Now, why the big grocery chains haven't figured that one out, I still don't understand. If you want the best price, just go to the founders, and get it. You don't have to go through a distributor who very well is nickel and diming the brands to death. And so when I mentor a lot of people in their 20s who are starting businesses or 30s or whatever, and I said, go direct. Get a great website. You're not going to get rich on your website, but sell on your website, then go to Amazon, then go to TikTok. Although I'd probably say go to TikTok, then Amazon right now. See if you can get on see if you get Instacart, do stuff, be a little bit creative. I mean, shit, I've sold Jimmy bars in prisons, and I made a funny post, Jimmy's in prison. Be a little creative, go to gyms, go to spas, go to pickleball places. Protein bars are ubiquitous. They're everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Anywhere. We started selling on hotels, and we did, and then we signed it kind of like pre-COVID. We found Jesus a little bit. And we're like, okay, how many freaking hotels I have to sell to get to 50 million in sales? We need Costco. We need some bigger guys, and so we picked the best guys out of the big guys, and that's what we sell to.
And I'm looking at the bars, and the bars have got some interesting ingredients with them. And let me try and get back on the screen that I was poking around on. I've got some. There it is. So let's see. Now they have plant-based caffeine in some of them, omega-3 and MCT oil.
Yeah. So guarana seed is a plant-based caffeine, and we just put 5 milligrams. It's just taking a little sip of espresso. It gives you a little bump, but it's a very clean caffeine, and it's not omega-3 and MCT oil are great for your brain, for brain health. Yeah. You have to be careful in your advertising what you say your product does, or people start suing you. So we've been very careful about that. But every bar has a purpose. Every bar does something. So we've got an Eye of the Tiger bar, which is a licensing deal I did with Jim Peterick, who's the guy who wrote the song for Sly Stallone with the band Survivor, back in the day, right? Who's a great dude, Chicago guy. And that's a great seller for us online. Eye of the Tiger is still the number one workout tune in the world, which is crazy, right? Yeah. It's been 40 years. But we've just done everything a little bit different. But the bars, I remember watching a Apple commercial that said there's an app for that. Want to travel? There's an app for that. Want to date? There's an app for that, right? Yeah. And so I'm like, there's a bar for that. And so during COVID, my sister Nettie, let's do an immune bar with, 500% of your vitamin C or 300% of your vitamin C. And literally back of the envelope idea to online, meaning jimmybars.com and Amazon, was 6 weeks. That's so fast. It's ridiculous. Yeah. 300% of vitamin C. The bar killed it. We still have it. The bar killed it. We got it on United Airlines, American Airlines, a lot of K through 12s because it tastes great. It's really healthy and delivers a lot of vitamin C.
Yeah. I mean, it's, the other thing is you mentioned, all these kind of convenient places, hotels and different things. I mean, that's usually where I'm having to grab a protein bar because I'm on the road. I got my protein shake stuff at the house. But if I'm on the road, if I'm traveling, if I'm, maybe at the gym or someplace, I'm going to stop someplace and grab a protein bar because I need that, especially if I've just worked out or something like that, and I also know if I don't take a protein bar on the road, I'm going to find a McDonald's, and we don't want to find McDonald's.
No, you sound like you have the same impulses as me. Yeah, it's like I've got my briefcase here. I've got about 4 or 5 completely smushed Jimmy bars. They'll open. Yeah, they'll open up and it's fuck it, just eat it. But yeah, it's a portable snack. It's a portable. I eat it as a meal, and it's kind of funny. A lot of people, again, it happens on TikTok. It happens online with Instagram, where you get some haters and they're like, your bars have 220 calories. That's too high. I'm going to go buy another bar that's got, 180 or 170. And I'm like, what are you kidding me? That's a meal. You're really worried about 30. And by the way, we have no synthetic shit in our bar. It's like, that's great. This is real food. I have my oldest sister. It's kind of funny, but I understand why those there's a bar for everybody. She loves Skinny Pop, real good product, right?
Yeah.
And she said, I'm not going to eat your bar because 200 calories, it's this big. Skinny Pop, 200 calories is this big. I said, yeah. I said, Skinny Pop, just, a whole freaking bag of Skinny Pop's so light. And I'm like, Skinny Pop's legit. I mean, that's a really good tasting product. I said, but you're not really getting protein, popcorn's popcorn. And she goes, Jimmy, I don't care. She goes, this takes me 1 hour to eat. That takes me 2 minutes. And I'm like, I get it. I get it. So there's something for everybody. I'll chug a Monster drink before workout if I'm feeling lethargic, or any energy drink. We know you're just loading yourself up with caffeine, but again, everyone's a little bit different how they roll. And in our world, where we've done really is that because our bars are the only high protein bar, or one of the only high protein bars with real food, and the only high protein bar with creatine, we're just killing it right now because you're getting real food, you're getting collagen, you're getting creatine, whole nuts, and very, very low sugar.
Very, very low sugar. And that's so important because there's a lot of different protein sources out there when you look at, all the protein in the market. And there's so much of it that is just filled with so much junk and crap. And you don't even know what it is half the time. And you can't even read the label. And, getting healthy stuff is really important. Any advice you give out to aspiring entrepreneurs out there, people that want to start, just any business, maybe at the top of the head, maybe, number one thing you'd say you'd recommend to entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I would say this. You better find a money source because, no, I'm being serious.
No, you're right. You're dead on.
There are certain businesses, like if you wanted to start your own accounting firm, all you need is an office and yourself and maybe an admin to start, or, it's very low cash, right? But if you're going to come up with something where you're making product, especially I'll use CPG, growth is a capital pig. It just keeps eating away. You get bigger, you need more money. And it's kind of funny because as we've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, I have friends saying, Jimmy, you're killing it, man. You are just blowing it out of the water. I'm like, I've got 12 cents in my pocket. Like I didn't know I'm so successful, and there's a great book, by the way, Lagunitas, their founder, who's a real character, the beer company. If you're a craft beer fan, I would tell every entrepreneur to read his book, which is called So You Want to Start a Brewery. And he talks all about the bigger he goes, the bigger I get, the poorer I am. Until you sell your business, then you're very rich. And then Shoe Dog by Phil Knight with Nike, two great entrepreneurial books where he almost got shut down by the government because he couldn't pay the taxes. Yeah. But you must have a capital source. If you don't have a rich dad, find a rich uncle, find friends, be comfortable pitching and getting money because you're going to need money. It's just the way it is. And then second of all, envision what you do every day. So if you're starting a restaurant and you think that's going to be glamorous, guess what? You're going to be bussing tables. You're going to be dealing with people who are pissed off because they're hungry. And the service, that's a nasty business. I don't know how my sister did it. It's tough. You got to really envision what your day-to-day is going to be because being an entrepreneur is not glamorous. I personally love it because I'd rather bet on myself than bet on someone employing me, but it's hard. It's a grind. If you think you can make your own hours, which always cracks me up. No, if you're good, you're going to be working 7 days a week and you better own it because if you're taking money from your friends, they're going to want to return.
Yep. Otherwise, they won't be your friends anymore, and they might find you. They know where you live.
No. If we went under, I'm not going to have a guy to drink a beer with the rest of my life. But
Plus, they know where you live usually, so that's.
I've already got my plan. I'm moving to Mexico.
Yeah, just fake your death and stuff. Yeah, exactly. But no, you bring up a good point. I give consulting and counseling to business owners and startup people, and sometimes it's interesting the conversation I had with them recently. It was like they wanted to start a trucking business and some friends and. I was like, this might not be the best time because gas prices are going to go up. Oh, you don't know. And I'm like, guys, have you planned for incidentals? Because there's always incidentals in the business. Like you said, like you mentioned, there's a lot of stuff that you're going to find out about and you're going to need money for. I love the money pig. I've got this picture of it. I might go to ChatGPT and have it make me a money pig picture.
It's true because you're starting your trucking business. Hopefully you know about the trucking business. Yeah. You don't have to know about the industry you're starting. I didn't know anything about CPG. However, if I was to, let's just say Jimmy Barcells or whatever, and I start a popcorn company, I basically, Chris, I would eliminate, we've been around for 12 years. I would eliminate 10 right off the bat, because I know what retailers to go in, who not to go in. I know how to raise money now. I know what the most important thing is. The most important thing in CPG is money and marketing, right? Yeah. It's money and marketing. Take the number one protein bar on the planet. I don't want to pick on anybody. Our bars kill them in taste.
Wow.
Nobody gives a shit because they have more money. And so there's more marketing. And take what's the best hamburger in the world? Is it McDonald's? No. Pretty damn good fries. Do they have good milkshakes? No, not even close. But they've got great fries, pretty good burger. But Five Guys is, I personally think, that's a great burger. You know what I mean? Yeah. But McDonald's is a machine, and they started first. And it's just a machine that they're great at what they do. So it's not necessarily the biggest guys that make the best stuff, but you better be very comfortable with hustling. I always compare it to, I was asked a question, what's the difference between an executive? This is a great way to end our call. What's the difference between an executive and an entrepreneur? An executive, corporate executive, is a golfer. He or she looks great. They're dressed great. They play by the rules. They know the rules. They know the right people. They can talk the talk and walk the walk, and they're very talented. Yeah. An entrepreneur is an MMA fighter. They get punched. They get back up. They get kicked. They get back up. They're brawlers. And I think in a lot of ways, and this is self-serving, more creative. They're willing to take that chance. They're willing to put their name on something and fight for it. Whereas a lot of people are just simply not comfortable with that. And you better be comfortable with that if you're going to be an entrepreneur. It can be really fun. It can be really rewarding. Your day-to-day is tough, though. I had a hell of a lot more hair, 12 years ago.
You bring up a good point. And yeah, there's a lot of these protein bars in the market that it's just like eating cardboard. You have to hold your nose and just choke that thing down. And it's so dry. And it's the biggest brands. And again, I don't want to name names. It's like chewing cardboard.
It's chewing cardboard, but you have so many different buyers. So you've got the macro buyer, the highest protein, the lowest sugar, the lowest calories. They're going to go with that. Then you've got someone that all they care about is organic ingredients, which is kind of a scam in its own right. So if it's got organic cane syrup, organic brown rice syrup, AKA sugar, they're going to buy it because they see the word and they don't know any better. And then you have people that are just looking for low calorie. There's a buyer for everything. But if you look at the biggest bars in the world, they don't taste good. Yeah. They just were great marketers, and they had a lot of money, and they probably maybe started 10 and 15 years before we did. That's why a lot of consumers, especially on the TikTok and the Amazons, Costco's really good at finding innovative brands. So is Aldi. I love Aldi. They're really good at finding innovative brands, and for the brands that are owned by the giant conglomerates, we're killing those guys. I mean, not in sales, but just in innovation. We were first to market with a creatine bar. In 2 years, when we talk, there'll be 47 of them. But we were the first because we have the founder's mentality of, why can't we do this? Why do I have to choke down this chalky stuff? Why can't it be in a bar? Why can't it be in a donut? Why can't it be? There's reasons why it can't. So you have to invest the time and the capital to figure out how to make it and then get it third-party verified so you do it right. Yeah. And that's just something that big conglomerates are not going to do.
Yeah. I mean, there's some that have been really awful that I've tasted. I need to get a hold of you, some of yours.
Will you email me after this?
Sure.
And I'll send you a bunch. But look at Power Bar. That's what you and I grew up on.
Oh, yeah.
It's sugar upon sugar with more sugar, with a dash of sugar, and then more sugar. It's total crap. I don't even know if they make them anymore, but and then there was Cliff Bar. That's a lot of sugar too. So that was the big thing. And now the thing is no sugar or low sugar. That's where we play. But still, to get the protein high, they're using a lot of synthetic stuff that we're just not into.
Yeah. Have you heard? I started seeing studies come out where it used to be they were just kind of just take 5 grams of creatine a day, and then there's studies that have been coming out that have been kind of tied to the skeletal muscle thing, and talking about how more and more people, and I think I've heard that thing about menopause too. It's helped menopause, perimenopause, but you taking more can actually help. And they did some studies of longevity, and I think whatever, you'd have to go Google it.
Yeah, it also depends on how your size. Yeah. I've got a buddy who's like 250. He does 20 grams a day. He does 2 Jimmy bars and then takes 10 grams. My wife takes 5 grams. She's going through perimenopause. More is consult your doctor. I'm not a doctor, right?
Sure.
But if you take more, I mean, I'm doing about 5 to 10 a day right now. And I just have so much energy. I love it, But it just depends on. But if you take a lot, you can get a stomach ache. It's also how you're built. But for your average 165 pound man, 5 to 10 is fine.
Yeah. I take a double dose too. So
really?
After I kind of read some of these things on creatine, I take a double dose. So I think I take 5 in the morning shake, and somewhere in the afternoon, late night, I take another hit. And
we're going to change you. You're going to get your PM from Jimmy bars, because it's going to give you some protein, and it's sort of like almost like a decadent dessert. And then do your powder in the morning.
That's the way to do it. Because sometimes I just want something to eat in the morning. I'm kind of, I burn out a little bit on the protein stuff, and I started adding frozen fruit to my
that's awesome.
protein drink, and so it's taken the edge off of all the chemical taste.
Yeah. No, that's awesome to do. I did that for years. Go to Jamba Juice and double up their peanut butter amount, but it is sometimes in the morning you want to eat something. You want to crunch instead of just because if you're drinking your smoothie and you're having your cup of coffee, that's a lot of liquid.
A lot of liquid and acid for your stomach, and you're
going to be.
I was like, hey man, I just got up, man.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be in the bathroom for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. Any other final thoughts or pitch out you want to make to people before we go?
I would say, to entrepreneurs, money and marketing. If you're going to go CPG, make sure you're comfortable, pitching VCs or pitching friends for money, because you got to do it, right? Unless you're just independently wealthy. On the marketing side, I would say if you're going into the CPG space, bypass the traditional grocery chains. Grocery is expensive, and look to colleges and look to hotels and look to gyms and look to yoga and pickleball and stadiums and all that kind of stuff. You can make good money there. You got to hustle, and you got to be very comfortable selling. And if you're an entrepreneur who doesn't like to sell, I would suggest being in a different business, because you're like our business. You can be a chef and come up with a brand, and those brands never work, or rarely work. I shouldn't say never. You got to be comfortable selling. I just got 4 calls from my wife. Get down here, my Costco buyer's here. So it's like you got to be comfortable selling, because if you're not comfortable selling, you're relying on other people, and you don't want to rely on other people.
Yeah.
You got to rely on yourself.
Yeah. I mean, selling is everything. I mean, as you're a CEO, you got to sell to the investors, the board, your customers, your employees, your vendors. You're always constantly selling the vision of what you're hoping to achieve and what you can help people come. It's been wonderful to have you on the show, Jim. I'm excited to try your bars here when I can get a hold of one. And I like this one too. This is I'm a mint cookies and cream sort of guy.
Oh, you'll love it.
Ice cream. It
tastes like one of those. It tastes like a mint Aunties.
Oh, wow.
Email me right now, and I'll send them to you right now. And thank you so much for having me on the show. This is really fun.
All right. Thank you, Jimmy. Thanks for tuning in. Check out his website. Give us the .coms one last time, Jimmy.
JimmyBars.com.
Is it Jim or Jimmy, your name?
I'll take whatever I can get.
All
James,
right,
Jim, Jimmy, whatever people want to call me.
I locked in on the Jimmy. So thank you very much for coming on the show. Thanks for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com, /Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com, /Chris Voss, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the most amazing, intelligent podcast ever made to improve your brain and your life. Warning, consuming too much of the Chris Voss Show podcast can lead to people thinking you're smarter, younger, and irresistible sexy. Consume in regularly moderated amounts. Consult a doctor for any resulting brain bleed.
All right, man. Wonderful show, Jim.